Hey everybody, welcome to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. Happy Thanksgiving week. I'm John Clark along with the great Mike Quick and Ike Reese. Eagles are coming off that big come-from-behind road win. In fact, nobody has more road wins in the NFL over these last two seasons than the Eagles, but they are back home. What are you taking from that win in Indianapolis?
Well, it reminds me of how tough it is to win in the National Football League, that they went to Indianapolis and had such a hard time. They overcame adversity. You mentioned that, and I think that's a true mark of a good football team. They had penalties, they had a double-digit deficit that they had to come from behind in the fourth quarter, but they pulled it out, and a win is a win in the National Football League, and you have to appreciate that.
Yeah, and it was a complete team win as far as I'm concerned. The defense under a little bit of scrutiny coming off the game Monday night against the Washington Commanders, and the biggest criticism was the inability to get off the field on third down. And I thought this past week against the Colts, the Eagles were able to do that. Indianapolis 5 of 15 on third down, and I'll break down this a little bit later on in the show as to how they got in situations where the Eagles could dictate how you come after this Colts offense. Nice job from the Eagles defense, doing a great job getting off the field on third down.
And Ike, you'll be happy about this with the linebackers, TJ Edwards and Kaiser White. They got it done on third down. In fact, no Eagles linebacker over the last 22 years has more tackles through the first 10 games, that's including Ike Reese, than TJ Edwards. So let's get a little linebacker breakdown with the linebackers coach, Nick Rallis. Here is Tape Study with Fran Duffy, presented by Chickies and Pete's.
Well, please be joined this week here on Tape Study, presented by Chickies and Pete's by Eagles linebackers coach Nick Rallis. And coach, I guess before we jump into these plays, just talk about the overall performance this season, but from both TJ Edwards and Kaiser White. What have you seen from him so far this season?
Yeah, both guys are playing high-level football, high-level linebacker. They're playing fast, they're playing violent, they're playing smart. We put a lot on both their plates, and really they play well together. So they're doing a good job of being the center of the defense and helping lead a defense not only on the front, but back end. You know, they got to do everything.
So you talk about playing fast and violent. That's exactly what we see here from TJ on this play, opening drive. Tell us what you see here from TJ Edwards.
Yeah, so they're running a gap scheme open here, and TJ, we're in a too-high fit. There's really an extra gap in there. So what we tell him here is to, off the pull, you're going to want to scrape tight off this down block. You know, sometimes it's a double team. Here with the 4-eye, we got a single block. So he's going to scrape tight off of that block, and he's just going to hit this blocker thick however he comes around. So this guy comes around relatively tight, but he kind of overruns it. So you see TJ ends up spilling it, and we're okay with that because you see here, Haas is crushing this. TJ is just going to hit it thick, and what it does if you play it is it allows for very minimal space for that running back to go. So if you think we're one short here, well, where's that extra gap? Well, right now it's right there. Look what happens when Haas crushes his guy. TJ is thick on that puller, and there is no extra gap in there anymore. So we tell him to just scrape it tight and hit it. If this puller would have come around really tight, TJ probably would have been on the other side of him, but now there's not much space in there for that running back to go. On top of it, like we talked about, violent. Right?
Sure.
Violent downhill.
And that's the thing with TJ is that we've always seen that violence downhill, that ability to play through contact. But this year also, and especially in this game, some of these open field tackles as well. And we saw this in the very next drive.
Yeah, so this is kind of what I'm talking about with these two being smart and on the same page. So if you play it here, off the motion right now, they both start talking through their film study and just their knowledge in general that you see, watch K. White start calling out screen when he's flashing his hand. Yeah, he's calling it out right there. And so TJ knows, TJ tells Hassan, you know, they had another route concept up off of this formation. So TJ kind of checks for that route concept. And then once he knows, nope, this is a screen, he does a great job in the open field. So when we open field tackle, we talk about put my eyes to the hip and run at full speed. Because if my eyes are right, my body will follow my eyes. But if I'm kind of seeing everything, my track might not be good. So TJ puts his eyes to the hip. That sets his angle on the football. And we know right now, with Haas setting it, if I take a good angle, we call that a cup on the football. right? The ball's not going to cross my face, ball's not going to cross Hassan's face. We can go hit it for minimal yards. And then really on the finish, what he does a great job of, anytime I'm in the open field, I want to get on the guy's legs. Because if I'm on the side of the guy and I try to go high and his legs keep going, I don't have anything to stop his momentum, right? I got to cut the engine. So he does a great job at the point of the contact right there of shooting through his legs.
At the very least, even if you are able to hold him up, you know you've got guys coming, you've got Hassan there, everybody else coming to the rescue.
No doubt, that's team defense 11-on-1.
And both guys have really done a nice job of defeating blocks. And I know you and I did a segment a couple of years ago when you first got here about block attention and being able to defeat those blocks one-on-one. A draw play here on 2nd and 10, both guys have to defeat some of those one-on-one blocks.
Yeah, no doubt. Draw plays are tough because the lineman or the tight end is going to get up in their lap very quick. Now, if you play it here, Indy does a great job with their running back of kind of having unique footwork. Most backs do what? They kind of shuffle in, get high, tells you, hey, this draw, go trigger fast. But they kind of make it look like he's scanning in protection. And so we actually get a little bit of a late read here, but they do both of these guys do a good job of, once they recognize it, like you said, it's really the shock and shed is defeating the block. So K. White here knows he's got Marcus coming down outside of him. So he's just gonna play back into this guy thick and try to knock him back. And TJ really does a great job of getting off the block and getting to the football. So go ahead, play this thing here. So here's what I love about TJ, okay? On contact, both feet are in the ground, power position, hands are inside. And the one thing I'd maybe coach him on is, hey, block attention. Because you have to snap, as soon as that lineman gets in your position where he's gonna be able to grab you, I have to snap my attention to him, and I can't just keep searching the ball, because a tendency is, if I'm searching for the ball, I'm gonna start to kind of feel out blockers. And as soon as I start to feel and I don't strike through it, guy's gonna grab me and he's gonna stay locked on. So TJ, I would say, hey, make sure you see that blocker a little bit more, but he does a great job of snapping into him to get extension and being able to shed.
Against a guy who's like 30 pounds, 40 pounds heavier than him.
Well, that's why linebackers, they gotta be very well-rounded. They have to be able to cover speed, and they also need to be able to take on these big linemen. So you gotta have guys that are explosive,
sure.
You know, and both these guys are explosive and violent. Okay, Kaiser, I would really say the same thing. He's in a great power position. He gets hands inside. Just make sure you see that guy so I have full attention through him. Okay, now once I get control of the man, now I can get off and shed. And they both do a great job still here of shedding to the football. Since they get good hand placement, since they're in a power position where they can get extension, Kaiser does a good job of finishing that shed with a pull over. And you can see they're both hitting the ball. Good team defense, a lot of people hitting the ball.
Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. Pepsi, Eagles watching, better with Pepsi. PA Lottery, there's a lot of love for the PA Lottery, and when you see how fun it is, you'll understand why.
You know, obviously Sue and LJ have played a lot of ball, and they're smart, you know, individuals. So they understand what's going on. Once they put it into their language, then it was, hey, go out and play. And that's what they did. So it was good to get those guys in here, and they played well. And like I said, the whole front played extremely well. I mean, you know, Milton, Grave, and Fletch, they both had, you know, they did some big-time things in that game that really controlled the line of scrimmage. And you see, that's when the D-line controls the line of scrimmage, you're probably going to play pretty good run defense. So shout out to those guys.
All right, Jonathan Gannon has his defense playing really well. They only gave up 35 yards on the ground to Jonathan Taylor after that opening drive. And the new guys stepped in right away and had some good snaps.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, look at Linval Joseph and what Ndamukong Suh was able to bring to the table. They certainly were a plus. I mentioned earlier, right, about how well they were able to do on third down, getting off the field, some of those third and long situations. Well, it was because of the way they performed on first and second down against the run, getting a chance to earn the right to rush the passer. Let's take a look at a run play here on first down where you're going to get team defense. It takes all 11 guys doing their job, right? So you got Indianapolis here, they want to get a ball to Jonathan Taylor. And you watch as Michael Pittman motions down inside. He's motioning down inside to crack down on the safety. But as he motions in, he brings Darius Slade into the box as a defender. And as the ball is snapped, look at Jonathan Taylor's shoulders. They're square. That means this play is designed to go all the way to the backside. But as Fletcher gets off the ball, he's being double teamed. He's stout at the point of attack. And when you watch Kaiser White and Marcus Epps here, the thing that I love that they do is they press the line of scrimmage. They don't sit back and catch these blocks. They're meeting these guys at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. Marcus Epps, great job on Michael Pittman, which allows Darius Slade to fit in that lane. And then now Jonathan Taylor doesn't have the backside to get to. He stays committed to the front side. You got Kaiser White coming down to make this tackle. But the thing that I love the most about this is Fletcher taking on the double team, not relenting, fighting through, getting in on this tackle along with Kaiser White. That's total team defense. That's how you stop the run. That's how you force teams to get out of their comfort zone. They earned the right to rush the passer and play great team defense on third down by winning on first down.
And just like in the days of Jim Johnson, 17 is the number. The Eagles have given up 17 points or less 8 times this year.
Yep.
That is most in the NFL. So what are they going to see from that Packers running game that's coming to the link? Here is Enemy Intel with Greg Cosell, presented by Golden Nugget Jewelers.
This has been a tough year for the Green Bay Packers. But any team that has Aaron Rodgers at quarterback is a team that you have to be careful with. And the Eagles, coming off a really tough, important win, now face the Packers on Sunday Night Football. Now, I mentioned Rodgers, but the reality is this season that the Packers' best version of themselves has been when they've run the ball with both volume and production. Aaron Jones can pretty much do anything. And I want to show you a counterplay with Aaron Jones, because Aaron Jones has explosiveness, downhill speed, downhill velocity. He can work effectively in the gap scheme, run game, as you see here with 2 blocks, where he hits it with speed, with velocity, gets to the second level, gets to the third level. He's a big play back who can work inside, and of course he can get to the perimeter, which is where the Packers use him as well. They get him on the edge, and he's able to gain big yards, explosive plays, which have been lacking sorely in the Packers offense. So this is really where they've been at their best. But let me just caution one thing as we finish. Aaron Rodgers can beat you anytime. So even though this team has struggled offensively this year, it's not an easy task for the Eagles defense.
Hey, it's okay to get emotional after one like that. It took all 60 minutes. Defense, great job. Great job, defense. They went down and drove the first time, and then it just did nothing. You guys did it the entire game, and we were behind the entire game until the end. Until the end. Hey, I don't got a lot more to say. I'm pretty emotional, but I will tell you. What am I gonna say? See you Wednesday! Great job. Happier for everyone in this room. That was a tough win. Coach. When you use the coach? It's Coach here. Hey, those guys mean a lot to me, but not even close to what you guys mean to me. This is a special group. This is a special group. Let's pray. I appreciate that, guys. Let's pray.
Really, what an incredible fourth quarter from Jalen Hurts. I mean, he took the game over. 130 total yards with his arm and his legs, 2 touchdowns. Just how incredible was that comeback in the fourth quarter from Jalen?
Well, it wasn't just the fourth quarter for me. I thought he was impressive throughout the football game. He rushed for 80 yards.
50 yards in the fourth rushing.
50 yards in the fourth quarter. But he rushed for 80 yards, and I was really impressed with how well he threw the football, especially on play-action pass. One of my favorite plays, watch this one. It's a play-action pass, and you watch this formation, and A.J. Brown is snug to the left side. It's a nasty split, a tight split, but you're going to get a 3-level stretch on the right side. I like this split because from a receiver standpoint, you can do so many things. You can go outside, you can crack on the inside defenders, or, as you see in this play, he goes across the field. But the receivers on the outside, they clear space. There's a receiver underneath that he holds the linebacker, Zaire Franklin. And if you watch, This is a pass it's got to be firm, but it also has to have touch on it. It has to get over the head of the linebacker and right into A.J. Brown's arms. And he catches the football in stride, and you love that from a quarterback. When he can hit you in stride and you can run after the catch, this is a perfectly placed football and just a little bit of what he was able to do throughout this football game.
Jalen Hurts is playing elite football. 4th in the NFL in total yards, 4th in the NFL in total touchdowns per game. He's won 14 of his last 16 regular season games. He is on fire. So let's get some self-scouting about another great throw from Jalen Hurts in that game in Indianapolis. Here is Greg Cosell, presented by Golden Nugget Jewelers.
Every week, I go through the Eagles coaching tape in great detail. And there's always things I see that really stand out to me. And this past week against the Colts, I'm in the 4th quarter studying their offense, and I see the touchdown to Quez Watkins for 22 yards. And I kept with my remote going back and forth because I loved the play given when it took place in the game and given what the Eagles had gotten from the Colts defense throughout the game. I want to break down this play because I think it's really important and really a special play, not only by the coaching staff and what they did, but the execution of the play by all involved. Now, the Eagles are going to line up in a 2-by-2 set. And to the field side of the formation, you have Watkins in the slot and you have A.J. Brown outside. Now, as I said, the Colts have been playing a lot of man coverage, and they'd been matching Stephon Gilmore on Brown pretty much all game, particularly when Brown was lined up outside. So what the Eagles called here is a crossing route by Watkins. But there's a lot to this because you have to go to the boundary side of the formation as well. As I said, it's man coverage. So what did they want to do here? They wanted to make sure that there was a void in the coverage with the routes on the boundary side. So they wanted those routes to be a little shorter so when Watkins crossed the field, that he would be in a void. As I said, you anticipate man coverage based on what they had done here. When Jalen Hurts took the snap, there was one player he was looking at, Rodney McLeod, who was matched up on the tight end Jack Stoll. He would be the player that would dictate this throw, because if it was not man coverage, McLeod would not go with Stoll. As soon as Hurts saw McLeod move and expand outside with Stoll's route, he knew the void was going to be there, and he hit Watkins on the crosser. Beautifully designed play, beautifully executed, based on everything they had seen all game. I love that play. As soon as I saw that play, I thought of a couple of weeks ago when they played the Texans. They ran the exact same concept, and they got a touchdown to A.J. Brown. He was in the slot. So this was just a play that really stood out. It was outstanding play calling by the staff, and outstanding execution by all involved, Jalen Hurts and Quez Watkins. Beautifully done.
Welcome back to Eagles Game Plan, presented by Toyota. Eagles-Packers on a Sunday night. This is going to be a good one. It's under the lights.
Yep.
What do you think of, guys, when you think of Eagles-Packers?
I thought you thought of 4th and 26.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. Oh, well,
Who doesn't?
Well,
Freddie does.
So what I think about, after the 4th and 26, the game wasn't over. David Akers kicks a field goal. But the part that stuck out to me was, first of all, there's a guy at this table that had a pressure on the play. But there was a pop-up thrown by Brett Favre. It looked like a pop-up, looked like a punt.
Yeah.
Intercepted by Brian Dawkins. And after Dawkins got that interception, that's when the Eagles sealed the game. But somebody at this table had a pressure on that play.
I like how he threw that out there.
Pressure on that play and a sack earlier in the game on Brett Favre. So, yeah, that is certainly one of the memories I have.
It's too old to look up the stat sheet anymore. It's not online.
I tell you, I don't look at the stat sheet because the other memory I have from that game wasn't very pleasant. Yeah, we didn't stop the run very well that day. So, yeah, and I was part of the problem. So, yeah.
Look at that, accountability. Accountability. That's why they made it. By the way, this is big time. First,
how about that?
Black Sunday, not Black Friday. First time wearing all black and the first time black helmets. How sweet is that under the lights at the link?
Looks nice, man. Looks nice.
Feeling dangerous?
Be beautiful.
Feeling dangerous?
Merle Reese will call them the Black Knights of the Schuylkill Expressway.
Well, whatever it is, it's going to be special. All black uniforms against the Packers. Sunday night football at the link. The place is going to be going wild. We appreciate you watching Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. He's Mike Quick. He's Ike Reese. I'm John Clark. Enjoy the big game this week. Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. Pepsi, Eagles watching, better with Pepsi. PA Lottery, there's a lot of love for the PA Lottery, and when you see how fun it is, you'll understand why.